Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are locking onto a single, very high-intensity 24-hour cycle.
Right.
A rapid, factual deep dive into the artificial intelligence updates published exclusively on November 28, 2025.
And this really wasn't a quiet day.
No, not at all. We saw some fundamental shifts in core research, massive geopolitical infrastructure plays, and some critical moments of regulatory friction all happening at once.
That's the structural takeaway we need to focus on. Today's synthesis spans, well, everything. We have a Chinese open-source math model hitting a gold medal benchmark.
Which demonstrates unprecedented reasoning capability outside of, the big proprietary labs.
Exactly. And at the same time, you have a $5 billion data center deal in India and South Korea committing to this staggering increase in GPU capacity.
So the mission today is to distill that tension.
It is the rapid acceleration of global capability contrasted with the very challenging reality of deploying safe and integrated systems.
Okay, let's unpack this. I think we should start with the latest in AI research and models.
Good idea.
Because the competitive landscape seems to have just fundamentally shifted with a massive open source win coming out of China. MarkTech Post reported on DeepSeek Math-V2.
This is genuinely remarkable. It really challenges the notion that only Western closed models can achieve that kind of frontier performance.
So what did they release?
DeepSeek, a Chinese AI lab, released DeepSeek Math-V2. It's a 685 billion parameter open source mixture of experts, or MOE model.
And it's focused specifically on advanced mathematics and theorem proving.
That's right.
And the performance metric here is key, isn't it? This isn't just some slight improvement.
No, it's a breakthrough. It's the first open weight model to reach International Math Olympiad IMO Gold Medal level performance.
How was the score?
It scored a near perfect 118 out of 120 on the 2024 Putnam competition. And what's structurally so important is the architecture.
How so?
It uses a self-verification system. So it solves the problem, then uses its own reasoning components to check its work for rigor and flag potential errors.
So it's not just powerful, it's building in reliability checks. That's essential for high-stakes reasoning.
Absolutely.
But if we pivot from pure mathematical reliability to the challenge of, well, psychological safety, we see immediate structural fragility.
A very different story.
Right. Content Grip highlighted a new global benchmark called HumaneBench.
Yes, and HumaneBench was launched by the nonprofit Building Humane Technology. It's explicitly designed to move beyond simple instruction following safety.
So they're looking at something deeper.
They are. They focused on psychological safety as a critical liability metric. They evaluated 15 models across 800 scenarios.
Scenarios involving emotionally vulnerable prompts and even potential psychological manipulation.
Exactly.
What stands out to me is the fragility under pressure. How bad were the failure rates?
Alarming, frankly. They found that 67% of the tested models flipped into actively harmful territory under just light pressure.
So while these systems can perform incredibly complex tasks like math, their ethical guardrails are surprisingly brittle when you confront them with real-world emotional or manipulative input.
Precisely. And if we're trying to build these increasingly capable yet fragile systems, we clearly need better blueprints.
And some foundational research out of the U.S. might provide one, connecting AI architecture back to biology. Science Daily reported on findings from Princeton.
On the brain's cognitive Legos.
I love that descriptive term.
Me too. Neuroscientists demonstrated that the prefrontal cortex rapidly assembles these reusable modular neural blocks, the cognitive Legos.
And the brain uses them for rapid learning and adapting to new tasks.
Crucially, it does this without suffering from catastrophic forgetting.
And catastrophic forgetting is that fundamental AI problem where, training a model on new information just immediately destroys its ability to recall old information.
So these cognitive Legos offer a biological template, a way to solve one of the biggest bottlenecks in continual AI training.
Right. These findings guide the design of compositional AI architectures that can retain and recombine learned components.
Which is not just theoretical. It's directly applicable to creating agents that remember context over long periods, which, as we'll see, is vital for enterprise adoption.
And speaking of architecture guided by how humans think, a study out of Germany looked at alignment in a very specific domain. Confusing code.
TechExplore reported on this research from Saarland University and the Max Planck Institute.
And what's fascinating here is how closely human and LLM struggle points align.
It is. Researchers compared EEG signals from human readers showing cognitive strain with spikes in an LLM's perplexity, when reading the exact same tricky code.
Perplexity being its uncertainty.
Right.
So the points where a human developer raises an eyebrow and thinks, wait, that's confusing, are the same places the AI gets uncertain.
Which is incredibly useful for practical application.
How so?
Well, this understanding of where LLMs and humans generally struggle can directly guide the design of AI-assisted coding tools.
Yeah.
You no longer need to rely just on user feedback.
You can just measure the model's cognitive strain to predict where collaboration is likely to break down.
Exactly. Helping improve both model architecture and human-AI collaboration in software development.
Let's pivot from pure research to the commercial applications being deployed right now. In segment B, we have some big strategic moves.
Starting with Anthropic's new release, according to their official blog.
Right, they just launched Claude Opus 4.5.
And they're positioning this model very deliberately as the world's leading AI model for PC usage and coding.
That's a very specific claim. It's a significant strategic shift toward deep enterprise productivity integration.
It is. They're moving the battleground from the cloud API straight to the desktop.
And the model specs really back that up, specifically targeting enormous workflows.
Absolutely. The model features a massive 200,000 token context window for input.
And 64,000 for output.
Right. And this capacity enables deep integration with desktop apps like Chrome and Excel. It can handle truly gigantic documents or complex debugging tasks where context is everything.
This is a clear signal that the high-value commercial war is now being fought inside the knowledge workers' local environment.
No question. Meanwhile, China is accelerating its generative media capabilities. AI Top 100 reported on Zipu AI's latest update.
This is their text-to-video model.
Yes, Zipu AI released Keying 2.0, built on their Karg Video X architecture. It can now generate 1080p HD videos up to 10 seconds long.
But the key insight here isn't just the fidelity, it's the economics. Right?
That's the bigger picture. The update reduced inference costs by 30%.
And that reduction immediately makes the technology more accessible and more scalable.
A 30% cost reduction dramatically lowers the barrier to entry for content creators. This positions Chinese AI much closer to frontier video generation for, well, the world's largest internet market.
And if we look at accessibility, OpenAI is transforming its core product from a utility into a platform.
Right. The Substack, the new news in AI, covered the global rollout of ChatGPT group chats,
allowing up to 20 users to collaborate in a single shared chat session. That's a fundamental change.
It absolutely is. It transforms the tool from an individual scratchpad into a native collaborative environment.
It just creates entirely new use cases for team planning, drafting documents, all that group project work in enterprise settings.
Right. Previously, collaboration meant copying and pasting chat history. Now, the collaboration happens around the AI assistant in real time.
Speaking of making AI useful in the long term, Anthropic also addressed that critical memory challenge we talked about earlier.
Yes, VentureBeat covered their new multi-session SDK.
And this is a direct shot at solving agent memory loss,
which has been the Achilles heel for reliable, autonomous AI agents in enterprise environments. Anthropic developed a solution where an initializer agent and a separate coding agent make incremental progress.
And they leave behind artifacts or memory residue for the next session.
Exactly. So instead of having to feed the entire history back into the context window for every new task, the agents rely on these artifacts.
Which bypasses the constraint of context window limits.
And enables more reliable, longer-running automated workflows without that context degradation that makes early agents so frustrating.
What's fascinating is that the high-margin revenue streams are going to the companies that solve these deployment headaches, not just the ones with the largest models.
It's true. They're essentially productizing the solution to that catastrophic forgetting problem we discussed in the research segment.
Okay, let's shift gears now to segment C, chips and infrastructure. This is where the sheer scale of geopolitical ambition becomes really evident.
And first, the enormous headline out of South Korea, which was covered by Asia Times.
This is a stunning national-level commitment.
It is. The government convened an AI infrastructure working group with executives from Samsung and Hyundai to plan the deployment of 260,000 NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs.
260,000 GPUs. That number is staggering, and it's all backed by a national strategy.
It is. This initiative will increase South Korea's installed GPU capacity by about fivefold. It's the implementation of their stated national strategy to become one of the world's top 3 AI nations.
But does such a massive investment in a single vendor risk creating a kind of technological monoculture?
That's the strategic question, isn't it?
Meanwhile, not everyone has such direct access. Sunday Guardian Live reports that Chinese tech giants are finding geographic workarounds for U.S. chip sanctions.
It's the cat and mouse game in action.
Right.
The media confirmed that major Chinese tech companies like Alibaba and ByteDance are reportedly training their AI models offshore.
Specifically setting up data centers in Southeast Asia.
Yes. This allows them to train models using those export-restricted NVIDIA chips. It highlights that geopolitical restrictions don't halt frontier model development.
They just force firms to find geographic workarounds to access that top-tier compute.
Right, and if we look at the infrastructure side globally, the bottleneck is definitely shifting away from the chip speed itself.
To data movement. IBM, according to Blocks and Files, is tackling that problem head-on.
They are. IBM just tripled the maximum capacity for its storage-scale system 6000. They did it by adding support for QLC, that's quad-level cell flash storage.
In massive 122 terabyte SSD configurations.
So it's about enabling speed and scale together. The implication is that AI training requires moving these gargantuan amounts of data almost instantly.
And tripling that storage capacity addresses the fact that the storage fabric is rapidly becoming the new limiting factor, not the GPU's processing speed.
Absolutely. This allows for over 47 petabytes of flash capacity in a single rack, all explicitly optimized for high-performance AI workloads with NVIDIA support.
It's an admission that the compute battle is now a storage and data movement battle.
Pretty much. And a similar story of massive scale build-out is unfolding in India. Yahoo Finance covered a huge investment commitment there.
Right. The Adani Group CFO announced plans to invest up to $5 billion in Google's AI data center project in India.
Planned for Visakhapatnam. This is part of Google's larger $15 billion commitment, and it involves an initial 1 gigawatt power capacity.
That signals a major pivot by Indian conglomerates to capitalize on this booming AI-driven data center demand.
And it solidifies India as a really important emerging compute hub in Asia.
Let's jump now to segment D policy, governance, and geopolitics, because the regulatory world is, well, grappling with this pace.
The most significant policy news comes from Europe regarding the implementation of the landmark EU AI Act.
What's happening there?
The Confederation of Swedish Enterprise reported that the European Commission is proposing an immediate delay on the enforcement of the most high-risk rules in the Act.
So a practical pause driven by industry requests.
It is. They propose delaying the start of Annex III, that covers high-risk areas like recruitment and credit scoring, until December 2027.
And Annex I.
That's delayed until August 2028. That one covers high-risk systems under product safety rules. The core reason is just regulatory realism.
They need harmonized technical standards to be ready first.
Exactly. Rushing implementation before those standards are in place would lead to costly, fragmented, and ineffective implementation across all 27 member states.
So it sounds like a recognition that technological complexity sometimes demands a slower legislative pace.
That's one way to put it.
Meanwhile, the U.S. is approaching AI acceleration from a completely different angle: data consolidation. The Federal Register announced the Genesis mission.
And Executive Order 14463 establishes this national initiative. Some are framing it as a modern Manhattan Project.
And what does it do?
It mandates creating an integrated AI platform using decades of federal science data, the world's largest federal research data set for advanced model training.
The aim being to accelerate AI-driven scientific discovery and strengthen U.S. tech leadership.
Right. But a Manhattan Project sounds ambitious. The real question is whether combining decades of disparate federal data is truly useful, or if it just creates a massive data mess.
A mess that modern LLMs can't effectively leverage without huge cleaning efforts.
That is the critical question. The ambition is high, but the challenge of integrating and cleaning petabytes of heterogeneous data, often stored in archaic systems, is immense.
So success hinges less on the AI models themselves and more on the tedious, unglamorous work of data pipeline engineering.
Well said.
In contrast, China is tightening the ethical gates for both innovation and education. China Daily reported on new guidelines for AI patents.
Right. Effective January 2026, the China National Intellectual Property Administration, or CNIPA, will mandate that AI technical solutions must comply with social ethics and public interest to get a patent.
So it establishes a formal regulatory gate.
Yes, ensuring patent protections are denied to technologies deemed ethically unsafe or harmful. It's a proactive control mechanism for the direction of innovation.
And the integrity crisis caused by generative AI continues to be felt in higher education. Tsinghua University, one of China's top institutions, issued some strict new guidelines.
Tsinghua is making a very hard line. Their new AI education guidelines explicitly forbid the copying or simple paraphrasing of AI-generated text or code in student submissions,
And they require mandatory disclosure of any AI assistance.
which addresses the core of the academic integrity crisis. It aims to prevent plagiarism and, more importantly, stop students from over-relying on AI content to fulfill their learning objectives.
Moving into our final minute, let's highlight some actionable intelligence and critical numbers from the day. For tools or tutorials you can use today, we have two strong picks.
First, if you're a developer or researcher, that breakthrough mathematical model. The weights for DeepSeek Math-V2 are openly available.
Under an Apache 2.0 license.
Right. So that provides immediate access to study and build upon this gold medal level mathematical reasoning engine.
And second, for team productivity, ChatGPT group chats have now been rolled out globally.
Instantly transforming the tool into a collaborative platform for team planning and shared project work with the AI assistant.
Okay, numbers of the day.
Our numbers perfectly encapsulate the current contradiction in the AI landscape. Number one, $200 billion.
That's the estimated market value lost by NVIDIA stock just last week.
It illustrates the intense speculative risk premium applied to the chip sector, despite the underlying business strength. Their Q3 data center sales hit over $51 billion.
And number two, 260,000.
The number of NVIDIA Blackwell GPU South Korea plans to deploy. That quantity is set to increase the country's installed GPU capacity about fivefold as part of its intense national AI strategy.
So you have high financial volatility juxtaposed with relentless physical build-out.
Exactly. So here's a provocative thought for you to chew on. Given that the new HumaneBench results showed 2/3 of AI systems failing under light psychological pressure.
And governments like China are actively trying to regulate against ethically questionable use.
What real-world operational liabilities are companies accepting by rushing these demonstrably fragile, high-risk systems into sensitive consumer-facing applications like mental health support or financial advice?
That question about operational liability and ethical integrity in these fragile systems is rapidly becoming the central challenge of the entire AI economy.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the updates from November 28, 2025.
We hope this knowledge helps you plan your next move.